Good evening, this is Bruce and welcome to my shop. This is the series on the Bridgeport rebuild. Now, this rebuild is limited to making it work and putting in a VSD drive for the motor. So far what I've done is I've had the motor rewound for 240 volt, the single phase. It was a 3-phase motor before that, so it's now 3-phase, but 220 volt 3-phase, so I can run it off a single phase VSD. That's the request from the client. And what I've done, the whole head was seized, quill was seized, wouldn't move up and down, any of that thing. It's all neglect. They've just been this machine was put aside by a patent maker. The job was taken over by a CNC machine. So I bought it and I'm on selling it. I've already sold it basically. So now I've taken all the head parts off and I'm about to deal with the drive unit here. That's the main cog drive for the change speed arrangement, and this is seized. The other part is the other head section here with the pulley and so forth. That's very hard running. This has simply been without lubrication for a long time. So what I'm going to do in the first instance is to drop the shaft out. Now I've never done one of these before. But everything works on the simple principles, and looks like we've got a circlip here for the bearing to come out this way. This will be the shaft locking in on the bearing. The bearing is dry as. There's just no oil in here at all for anything. I'm going to strip it out and then I'll do the clean up and everything else. But the rest of the clean up of the machine will be done by the client. His son will be partner with his father to clean it up and tickle up and do whatever they want. I'm going to get it out of here functioning. And the one thing I'm not going to do is change the bearings in the quill. That'll be a job for him in the future. It'll be a bit noisy, but then he'll settle in and that'll be it. So first things first, we're going to take this nut off. We have a couple of, that's too big. Won't fall any further. I have a smaller one here. This pin, let's see how we go with that. What we've done now is we've actually released the bearing. So we'll just carry on knocking that nut around. Prior to starting to film, I'd actually released the key. I dropped the key down. I'll pull that out. I'm not sure whether this needs to be pressed out or not. No, it doesn't. So that's cool. So here we have it. That's the shaft coming out. And as we can see, I'll put that up there. You should be able to see there that I'll come back in. That bearing is dry as. There's nothing, there's absolutely no lube in that at all. It's completely dry. So there's two bearings there. So they'll come out now. I'll decide whether I replace them with new ones or not. We'll just swing back out again so you can see the whole action. Yeah, this is pretty rusty inside, so we'll clean all that out. We'll clean all this up. The gear looks good, not missing any teeth. So this will be just a little job to clean it up. I'll just spin this back on for the moment to protect that fine thread. That can go aside. There we go with that. We'll get a little box, put some of these items in. So that one can go in there. Here we got the two bearings, and these bearings bottom down here, so they've got to come out through the top. We'll remove the spring clip. We have to be careful with this, it doesn't decide it wants to go somewhere else. There we go. That's out. Now these will either knock out or we'll have to take them out to the press. Well, they're seized up. We'll check in a minute and see what the worth of that is. So we've got that out. The rest of the mechanism, this is working fine. This fella here normally is just on that bronze bush arrangement. So this is a job for tomorrow, to wash and clean that. That's the first item out of the way. Put that aside. Move our implements of destruction out a little bit. We'll just give that a bit of a throw out. Okay, now this fella here is working, but hardly. Very tight, full of grease and shit in there, but nothing more than that. So I'm assuming that this locking nut here is going to be what I've got to take out. And there's a second locking nut here. We'll see if we can get that shaft out, and then there'll be a bearing in there that needs to come out. So we'll give that a knock. We don't, unfortunately, we don't have the luxury of having a proper screw arrangement. I had all these in days of yore, but now that looks like it's been bruised there. So I'm going to close it back up. And I'm going to grind that bruising there. But this is of course from the hammering that these get when people bash the shaft, the quill. That's my darling. You'll bear with me while I go and see what she wants. Okay, she was waving me goodbye. She's going to teach her class, dancing class tonight. So what we've got is the bruising here, and you can see it all around, and that's typical of these of milling machines over time, and they've bruised the shaft there. So what we'll do here is we'll just grind that off a bit. Otherwise it's just going to bind up on it. We'll try with the longer nose one. most of that bruising out of the way. The rest is okay. Well, hopefully that won't bind up now. We'll get that out of the way. This is where you need 7 hands. All these mechanical aids, tools I used to have, I no longer own, having been out of the business for so long. But there's more than one way of skinning a cat, as we say, and this seems to be working okay. Will be nice and cleaned up once we finish here. Okay, nuts off. And we'll have a look and see if this one wants to drop out. It has that sound to it. So I think we're on the money here. We're bottoming out at the moment. Looks good. Down to there. We've got a little smaller one. I'm using aluminium dollies here because we don't want to do any damage. Enough of that has been done before. Down on the floor again. There we go. So, subtotal of that, you can see here how much rust and dirt has been in there from this little non-usage that it's had. So we'll clean all that up. There's another lot to be, a shaft to be taken out, cleaned up, all done. Now we'll have a look inside here. Yeah, as you can once again see evidence there of lots of rust, but not too bad. I'm suggesting that it's not too bad. It's something that can be recovered. These bearings will normally be a standard, maybe a 3H accuracy, and I'm assuming that they are going to come out from the top here. And I don't have any friends to phone to ask, but that I know of anymore. There's something obviously in here. See if we can see some indication of what's what with all of this. So this section here is where the turning device works, and that normally turns this around. We'll have a look down here, see if we can see anything. This bearing is bottoming out. This bearing is bottoming against that. However, there's two halves here, two half sections. So we'll have a look and see if we can unscrew those off, and they may give us. And that's got a spring inside of it there, and that'll be that's the brake arrangement. Okay, I've never seen that before, but what we have inside here is that handle. Let's see that thing. That handle. That's how it actuates the brake. So we don't need to take the brake out. That's completely independent to the rest. So we're not concerned about that. We're concerned about the bearings in here and their well-being. Their well-being doesn't look to be very well-being here. So I'm going to have a go at unscrewing this and see what it says. Something's happening. There we go. Okay, so we've got action here. Just as well, it's a Bridgeport. It's so well built over the years. And so we can see here that this is all good. It had oil in the right places. And there we have a bearing and a bush and a bearing. Now they're going to come out this way, obviously. This sleeve here, one would have thought that would go in the other direction. However, yeah, what we do have, those three nuts are all part of the brake system. So we don't have to worry about that. Well, let's see if these bearings will go out in that direction or not. Yes. Beautiful. What we have here, okay, so we've got an outer and an inner race spaces. Beautiful. Too often you only see the one, you don't see them both. And there we have the second bearing. Okay, so we've got the second bearing. Everything else is out. It's just now a clean up for all of this tomorrow. And we'll just have a quick look at that. (6207V). These are standard bearings off the shelf. So tomorrow I'll be buying some new bearings. I'm not going to even mess around with those. So those bearings there are standard off the shelf. This is a 34LU40T. 34LU40T. Well, I'll be ringing them up tomorrow, and I'll also be playing around with this and seeing if I can't rejuvenate these bearings. There we go. They're just not being used, I think. We'll see how they clean up. If there's no knocking and they feel like the accuracy is okay. There's a couple of high spots on there at the moment, but I think soaking in kerosene overnight, and we'll see how they go. And in the morning I'll ring and see if these bearings are available off the shelf. Fine. If not, I'll be making up a little set of photos here to complement the book. The book I've got that's the operation manual for the book. The book with the, but that has the breakdown inside of it of all the bits and pieces. But of course it doesn't give you any instructions on how to pull all this apart. As we've seen, there's no rocket science here. It's all very, very basic, all simple. And fortunately, some of those bearings are standard and some of them may be different. But we'll check that out in the morning with my bearing supplier, and we'll go from there. Thank you very much.